the hacks you use, the things you do on show site, the hacks that you can share that might help other people in the space. This is going to be recorded on YouTube, and we'll share it with our all of our other freelancers. So if someone wants to start, like first of all, what do you have in your show kit? Like what is do you have to have in your show kit? Nancy always talks about you can't you can't skimp on a hole puncher. Like don't buy the cheap hole puncher, and always have a printer, a portable printer. I know that's some shit's a non-negotiable for her. But if you guys want to just go around the horn and add some value where you see fit, just when it comes to your show kits.
I think you have to have a stapler
Mhm.
because how many times have I been like, bunging papers together and handing them out? That's terrible. And sticky notes, post-it notes for sure.
I
Because
love the
clients
stapler.
always borrow them.
I carry my own supply of reserve signs.
Hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, they're not really slick, but I have them for when they're needed. Also,
Yeah.
it carries something to say speaker, so I can designate tables. Um, yeah. I also, if I can carry a rehearsal in progress or out to lunch sign if I have to put it on a door in a rehearsal room.
Oh, smart.
Yeah,
That's so
just la
smart.
just laminate them and keep them in my kit.
You know, I saw it really quick on show site one time. I thought was brilliant. His name was Curtis Templeton, and he had on his screensaver, "Hey, I'm away from my computer right now, but text me if you need me." I thought that was his screensaver. How smart was that? Who's next? Oh, go ahead, Tim. You're muted, unfortunately. Tim, you're muted. Every brilliant thing you said.
Oh,
There you go.
told you I come from I was a tech director at a sound company, so that shows. Carry a charger for every type of USB converter, a wall charger. Make sure it's not the small one. Make sure it's at least 20 amp, 20 watt, you build charging quicker. And it depends. I don't want to get too technical with the stuff I do because I have adapters for everything.
Huh?
Um, but also a trash bag. I show up at so many places where I'm working live and often I'm on a stage and they're bringing you water and they're bringing you all sorts of stuff and there's no place to put it.
Yep.
Always carry a trash bag.
That's so smart. And then Lonnie said, I saw what Lonnie said too. Bone conductive headphones. You can put multiple headsets on, portable labeler. I like that labeler. USB capture devices, warning slides. I'm sure you guys would know what a lot of that is. I don't know what a bone conductive headphone is.
Like a Shocks headset.
Oh, nice. Okay. I love the trash bag. The last show I was on, there was no trash can backstage. No trash can backstage. I had to go like walk around the corner and steal one from somewhere else and put it backstage. I thought that, and because I think trash cans cost money too. Like on certain events, like to have a trash can will cost money. I just went and like stole the trash can. I think the trash bag is brilliant, Tim. Brilliant idea, I tell you.
I carry around it's made by K&M, a microphone stand company, but it's a little music stand, basically adapter, that musicians can use. But to throw scripts on an audio console, you're covering up half your audio console, at least from my vantage point. So I just get a mic stand and put the script off to the side.
I like that.
You guys, I'm seated now.
Yay.
Um, the trash bag, I go to Starbucks if there's Starbucks in the morning and I make sure I get a bag for my stuff, and that's always my trash bag front of house. And I just I don't know why we never get trash cans, you guys. For the life of me, I don't know why there's never trash cans when you hit that front of house deck. Weird.
I always have
Love
like I'll carry I'll have like a fanny pack and I make sure I have like a Swiss Army knife or something like that. Tons of Sharpies on me all the time. Especially if I'm doing something like where people are speaking, I might even have little snacks in there or like little mints or something, just in
Smart.
case they're like, oh my God, I haven't had anything to eat, or I need a mint before I go up and do whatever.
So smart. You know what's
Yeah,
funny too?
cough drops too are good to have in
I
that
was
little
just
kit.
gonna
A
say
little cough drop.
Ricola. I religiously carry around Ricola with me.
I've kind of been spoiled. So the first couple jobs I've done the past 2 years being with Nancy is oh oh, that's someone. Hold on.
It's me. I got to mute. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Dan. The first couple shows I did when I came on board with Nancy were George P. Johnson shows. And if you've ever worked with them, they have the best office setup that has you guys freaking everything you need. So the first two shows I did was with two large companies, and they had an office setup that had every single thing you're talking about here: the phone chargers, blister care, snacks, print, every single thing you needed. So that I get to another show, kind of thinking that's how it was going to be, and I was kind of caught flat-footed, where oh crap,
Yeah.
they don't have snacks for me, and I'm hungry, and I'm like, I am one of those people when I get hungry, I'm not even nice. You know, they didn't have the back behind behind backstage where the food was, like where we eat our lunches. They had no lights. They had no lights. Thank God I had flashlights. I had a flashlight, but there's no light shining on the food source where you're gonna like when you're gonna get your lunch and stuff. So now I understand I have to be prepared for everything that's gonna happen because I ain't with George.
I actually carry a work light. It's a fun thing. Here, I'm gonna hold it. I was looking for a picture. It's the red is a pear.
Oh yeah.
You can get them on the awful Amazon place, but it does all different colors. And it also has a different setting that has three different brightness settings. And I learned about these from an A2 I was working with because I was working in a space where we were very spread out. We were in a theater at a university, that was my room, and they ran out of work lights. So I didn't have a work light backstage, and she loaned me, hers is a flat duck. She loaned me this work light that we could charge up and have backstage, and it didn't require having to run power because you can charge it overnight. And it worked out really well when all of the power went out in a storm, and
Oh,
I had this little light that didn't require being plugged in. And it's a good little, if you don't need it as a work light, it's a good little mascot because it has a sort of rainbow of colors. You can kind of set it to the color for the show. They're
nice.
preset. It's not, you don't have any finesse in
Yeah.
it, but I do some Walmart stuff, so I can set it on blue. It was red in that picture because an opening video had a opening bass hit that was so loud it actually changed it to red because if you squeeze it or if you tap it, it changes color.
Wow.
So it's a fun kind of talking point. It's not like presenters tend to enjoy it. And if
Yeah.
I'm deck managing, I can have it in my little spot backstage and it's so like a little conversation piece, but also is very practical. And then my other one is these are a little pricier, a heated vest.
Oh yeah.
So
I've
good.
heard about that.
Yeah. And I wanted to counterpoint the charger thing. So the pair light only charges on a low voltage, old school USB to USB-C charger. So,
Mm.
and I carry around one of the old little Apple, I call them nuggets, with the USB-A. I carry one of those around and it gets used people borrow it regularly. So I would
Mm.
say don't limit yourself to only having a high voltage charger. Have one of those little, I think they cost like $5 now,
Right.
to have in your, and then if the production company uses it, you can always, if they're nice, bill a little gear rental on it.
Okay. Nice. Let's move on now because add on anything you'd like to, but I wanted to move on to the second hack, the second series of what we're trying to work on is intercom etiquette. And this is probably one of my favorites to talk about because every show I feel like it has different etiquette when it comes to comms, and it all depends on the executive producer or the technical director and their mood for the day. So if you guys want to start, just throw out some ideas of what makes someone sound like a professional on intercom or what drives you crazy on a headset.
So I actually have a LinkedIn post about this that is like my most viewed LinkedIn post of all time. It had like 27,000 impressions just talking about comm etiquette. And it's very interesting because just what I thought was commonplace, like people actually debated
Okay.
against it. But I mean, I was always told like if I want to talk, to Barb, I'm like Carmen for Barb. But I was on a show where people were saying Carmen from Barb, like, which didn't make any sense, which is what
Right.
prompted, you could say like Carmen, or I don't know. There's ways to switch them around as long as you still use the correct wording in between. But
Yeah.
I would always say like, you know, Carmen to Barb on
Yeah.
whatever channel I'm talking on.
Because
Yeah.
I want the
Actually,
last thing said is who's listening. Like I want to hear
Yeah,
I hear your voice and then I hear my name at the end. I'm with
right.
like that.
If
But
I
I
don't hear
saw
my
the
name
debate.
at the end, I don't pay attention to anything that anyone is saying until I hear my name.
I
So,
remember reading that post, Carbon, and the number, seriously, and the number of comments on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Carmen, can you share that in the notes? Can
Yeah,
you
I
find
will.
it? And then also,
Yeah.
you guys, I'm gonna do my best to make sure that all of the notes that we're taking in here, I'll send you an email. We'll get the video as well, but send you an email that kind of highlights all of this, so you can just have some takeaways too.
Yeah, and Lonnie's correct. I hold two professional radio certificates for Marine and other things. But yeah, it's you. It's the first words out of your mouth are who you're calling, and then who you are, and that's professional radio etiquette.
That's professional
But
radio on show site
yeah,
and from movies. I did
yeah,
movies
no,
for
no,
100
exactly.
years.
Yeah,
The last thing I think we don't have. I saw the whole debate, Carmen. I was cracking up, Sean. Everyone, I'm like,
it,
this. We're not talking about airlines here. We're talking about
no, but
intercom.
it's still a massive debate. And one thing
Yeah.
that Carmen said too is a lot of people will say so and so for or so and so for themselves. Like Carmen for John. And or they'll say something like that. They'll put themselves as
Or
the
like it would be
for
me, but I say
person, but
Carmen
it's
from
total.
John, and that wouldn't like Carmen from John doesn't make any
Exactly,
sense.
exactly. Yeah, there's so many
I love
variations
it.
on it.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
really silly.
I would say I just had a show where we had a guy that kept going off comm and didn't tell us. And we're like, where has he gone? Right. And you're like, where's Mike? Where's Mike the whole time? So, like, if you have to get off comm, you got to tell people I'm off comm for 2 minutes or whatever it's going to be.
And check back in.
And then check back in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you.
And keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to have fun on comm, depending on the type of
Show.
thing, like make it light if you can, whenever, you're doing a Q&A panel or whatever. Like, I think it's a good time to get to know your crew too,
Yep.
if it's appropriate.
Yeah. That's what's happened on a show I was on. Is it was a group of a lot of fun people, and they were talking about things that were happening that were funny. And then all of a sudden, the technical director jumped on and said, "You need to keep this calm, quiet, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Well, buddy, we're all fine having fun with it. You can just ignore." But there's five of us that were talking and getting to know each other and kind of harassing. It was lighthearted. He was not having fun. He was not a fun person. So it all depends on that.
Also,
Going back,
oh, go ahead, Kate.
Oh, I was just gonna say, make sure that you alert your crew if you're running COH, client on headset,
Oh yeah.
because that can get you into a lot of trouble.
I feel like one of those bad Zoom calls when you're not muted.
Right. It's always good to know who's on the channel that you're talking on, before you have that kind of fun. Sometimes like, you can ask for another channel
Yeah.
if there's room on your pack, just with a couple of people if you want to be able to have those.
Well, I always start out, of course, with a roll call to make sure that everybody's on headset. And at that point, I'll introduce and say, and by the way, we're being joined by, Joe Bob from the client side, just to let everybody, be aware that we're running with client.
And I think one etiquette move that we all know, but not everybody knows, is if you're taking on or off your headset, make sure it's not keyed, because it's really loud in everybody's ears, and you'll get rookie. Because especially show callers, our comms will latch. Some people have latching comms, and that's embarrassing when you're.
Robert, did you have something?
yeah, I was gonna say sort of what Kate was saying, like, or maybe Carmen was saying, about having a private channel. Like, if I have multiple channels, it's really helpful to be like, hey, so and so on this channel, so that it's weird when like somebody can hear half a conversation because you're talking on one channel, but someone's listening to you on a different channel.
I'm newer to headsets than all y'all. So someone like me, I don't know if this happens to you too, but when we were on a show last week, and it was loud, and it had music, and there's a lot going on, and people are trying to talk in my head, and people are talking at my face, and you guys, my brain goes like this, like I can't. It's actually a gift to be on headset all day and understand the energy and stuff like that because it's actually really hard for me. I'm the one that drops my headset down off my neck sometimes just so I can like let my brain like cool off because it's so much going on. I don't know how you guys do it. Nancy always says you got to put your headset back on. I'm like,
You
I
just
do joke
ignore
that
until you hear your name. That's you don't.
yeah, I don't know how to do that yet.
it's like
It's
selective listening. I joke it makes me good at my job and bad in personal relationships because I'm very good at looking like I'm listening and have no idea what the person just said because I was off on a different thought train. And that's the same that you could have someone talking to your face, but then tune in because you heard your name
yeah,
on set.
wild. So
Yeah.
hard. It's a gift. It's something you have to practice. That's something you have to practice at, I think. Like you have to get really good at it.
I would say too, like if say if you're going to talk to someone and you say their name, wait for them to respond before you give all of your information because they might not have heard you at all or even be on comm and you'll think you're talking to someone they're not there.
Yeah, I feel that. Anything else? I have more topics. That was good. That was really good, you guys. You guys are experts on that. The next section I wanted to grasp from y'all is long day management. Long day management and how you, I know you guys always have at least a 10-hour day, which is crazy in itself, but you're all used to it. But what are your best hacks for having really long days? Sometimes they can be 12, 14-hour days. Best hacks.
First of all, water. No
Yeah.
matter how long your day is, no matter if you don't think you're thirsty or not. I've been in so many situations. I work outdoors a lot. I do, tennis outdoors, basketball and stuff is indoors. Dehydration comes up on you, first hand experience, very quickly. That can lead to other things. Always, what I do is I take a gallon jug of water and I can monitor it while I'm going through my day. And at the end of the day, if it's not done, I haven't had enough. That and gate for me, and everybody could be a little different. Gatorade, keep the electrolytes up. Uh,
Mhm.
I just went through I had a couple operations last year for replacing body parts. I learned a lot from the medical people. And what they were saying was that one of the common things is they see people, because they do 12-hour days. Then, if you've seen the show The Pit, very
Mhm.
accurate. Nurses and doctors are on 12-hour shifts. Gatorade power, something like that will replenish your electrolytes. It's so easy to fall away from that. And then
Mhm.
you can fall off your chair.
Yeah.
And then they have to replace it.
You get behind on being dehydrated. It's so hard to catch up. Then you'd be crappy tomorrow. What else do you have? Besides eating, like for me, it's snacks. I'm Betty White. If you don't give me a snack, I'm angry.
And I think as a producer, you have to make sure that your client is feeding your crew. Like
Mhm.
the whole thing when clients try to cut your food out, you're like, these people are not going to keep working effectively for you. So either the client has to provide food or can you work it out that you're bringing in food or snacks or whatever I think is really important. And I try to look forward of the schedule. And if there's a way to get out of there earlier, like, hey, you know what, as the day is going, we're trying to get maybe some rehearsals done a little bit earlier. That's one of my hacks for sure. And I'm constantly looking at things going, okay, we're looking ahead. How can we manage this day a little bit better? Because in the end, if you can even get the crew out 15 minutes earlier, they're happy. And if you can
Oh,
give
heck yeah.
them extra 30 minutes of sleep, they're happier.
Mhm. Great, great feedback.
Yeah, Lonnie, I'm with you on the bathroom breaks, doing bio breaks. I try as a producer, show caller, to always try to over communicate that to crew of like, we've got these rehearsals for these 90 minutes. If we can get through them, we're trying to give everyone 30 is aspiration of a 30-minute break probably doesn't happen, but at least a 10 or 15. To your point, Tim, about hydrating, I worry that you also have to be able to sit in your same position for long days of those 10 hours. So kind of trying to over communicate that. And then that helps cut down on people just hopping off headset because they have to use the restroom if they know something's coming up, and then it's only emergencies needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. To that end, planning in breaks if you can between like if you have a bunch of speaker rehearsals of like it's hard when they're back to back to back to back and you don't have an opportunity to leave, especially in a position like as a show caller where you can't leave.
Hmm. I'll tell you what, getting up and just walking to those bio breaks, it's one thing to get up and go to the bathroom, but just to get up and move your body, like a body in motion stays in motion. So if you can get up and walk around a little tiny bit, if you're a producer sitting down, I feel so bad for the cameraman. One show I was on last year, the cameraman was doing yoga I thought, he's the smartest guy I've ever seen. Like, if they're just sitting in one spot all darn day. So to have them get up and move around and do some stretches for all of us, it's just so smart because the like you create energy and that energy you create with your body actually works for your whole system. Your sympathetic nervous system will start firing again.
I
I think
That was
it's
a fitness,
important.
that was my fitness background just came out if you didn't catch
it
that.
totally did. We totally thought.
I think it's important to actually take the breaks too, and it's something I've been so bad at in my
Yeah.
life. But as I'm learning and I'm being more intentional about if you are given a bio, take it.
Hmm.
Even if you don't have to bio in that moment, like you said, just walking out of the room for a second, taking your headset off, gives
Hmm.
you that. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the like, oh, but I've got to get like the waters out on stage, or I need to mark up my show flow, or I need to. But what you need to do more is leave the room and like taking as
Yep.
much of the meal break as you can, which isn't always all of it, but at least getting to the food, eating the food, maybe stepping outside and getting some daylight
That's it.
into your body
That's it. How
before
many
you
times
go
you gone to
back
a
into
show
the
site and
darkness.
you've never walked outside? I was in Chicago one time and I
Mhm.
never once went outside. I stayed in the hamster trails the entire time. Never once got a breath of fresh air for like 5 days. That was my bad.
Yeah, especially in wintertime when you're getting up in the dark and
Yep.
you're walking home in the dark and you're like, was there a sun
Yeah.
today?
Didn't see it. Didn't see it. That's so important to get outside, especially if you're
Mhm.
in a circadian rhythm. Everything about that's so critical. Just go outside and breathe for a second if you can.
Or even
Yeah.
look out the
We,
window.
Hmm.
Those convention centers have windows, even if you
Yeah.
can't get out of the building.
Yeah. Pretend.
there's a really good think tank that we did years ago, and I believe Barb, you put it in YouTube, and it was a woman talking about um, all these healthy habits on show site, from getting a good night's sleep. Like she brings tape and tapes over all of the little blue or red lights in the hotel room. She
Oh,
tapes under the door, so that it's black, so no light comes through. She totally blacks out her room. She's a lot of really cool hacks like that. And then I was going to add, and I'll put a link in the chat, is I have a portable stand-up desk. It folds down the size of my laptop and then it opens up like origami, and it's this really reinforced cardboard. And after sitting on my butt too long calling a show or even backstage, I put that bad boy up. US Open especially, you've probably seen it, Logan, because I'm there all day and night. But it's a really cool portable stand-up desk if you guys are used to standing while working, and if you're not, you should try it because it's really
yeah.
awesome. I'll go find it on Amazon. It was great. It was one of my favorite purchases ever.
I was just going to add too, if you're, so I find myself in this position quite a lot where I'm sort of in charge of the food for the crew. I'll make sure that I don't get like heavy foods and stuff that's like healthier so that people aren't like eating lunch and then wanting to take a nap or something like that.
Right. That's critical. We have a couple more here. One was no doom scrolling. And the last show was on. Nancy kept walking by the guys and said, have you found the end of the internet yet? Because I do feel bad for some people that have to sit behind there, just sit there all day, and they end up scrolling, 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 and that just makes your brain turn to mush. So even like if you try to do Wordle or something, if you're gonna have to be on your phone doing something, um, something that's gonna stimulate your brain, not just doom scrolling, because that does suck your energy and it kind of puts you in a flat spot. And then also making sure that your 8 a.m. and your 8 p.m. energy is the same. And I think that's the hardest part of the day is you are tired at the end of the day, but making sure that you keep your energy level up and equal across the board, versus one that goes up in the beginning and then starts to tank throughout at the end of the day. Because clients do feel that energy because it is our job to, and our whole LinkedIn content this month is about the energy we bring to shows and how we need to protect the energy on the show site. And I have seen that 1,000, and I'm sure you guys have too. One person can just suck the life, like that technical director one time I had. They just suck the life right out of you really, really fast. So it's really important to protect the energy all around for everyone.
Barb, I love the animated way you just did the suck. That was wonderful.
I'll never forget. It was the first time I ever felt it. It was the first time I was like, wow, okay, my bad.
I just want to jump in with something to what everybody's saying. If you don't drink coffee regularly, don't drink coffee on a job. And if you don't eat a lot of sugar regularly, don't go for the sugar on the job. I can attest to that
Yeah.
personally. I'm off the wall a lot anyway, and that stuff I made that mistake once and won't do that again.
Nice.
Hey,
Okay.
I wanted to talk about doom scrolling too, everybody. Um, we had, I am so guilty of this when you have a presenter up there for an hour doing his monologue and you open up your phone and you start scrolling. Our clients see that. Your client sees that and it doesn't look good on you. And we got called out on that this year by one of our fabulous contractors. But he got bored and he was playing solitaire. And the client told us he's playing solitaire every time I looked up. And I was like, oh, geez, I'm just as guilty for starting to get on my phone. And now I'm practicing with really good attention to focus, Joe. You never know if something's going to go wrong on that stage or whatever, just mind your P's and Q's and try not to get distracted by these other things that happen on our phone. That's all. And I'm saying that out loud to make myself accountable.
Yeah, it's easy to do. Let's talk about communication hacks. It's not communication on comm. This is communication just with the producer. So what are some communication hacks to reduce producer stress? Like when you're on a show, when do you speak up when something's happening? How do you escalate without causing drama or bringing drama to the situation? Do you guys have any great hacks if something's happening on the show site and you need to bring it to the producer, or you're the producer and you see something happening? How do you take care of that? I know it's a heavier question.
I feel like a lot of it is hold the times you need a producer to like come and deal with something like near and dear of like they don't use that for everything that comes up, so that when you really need someone like, hey, I need to come back here right now, this thing's
Yeah.
happening, that it has some more weight to it.
I like who said this? Diffuse with humor, then talk to each party off stage. That I love that. Humor covers a litany of sins.
And I will say something that, and you know this about me, Barb, very well, is I don't like to stir the pot. I'm often too nice. And I think I told this on one of the previous think tanks. I was too nice with an A1 that did not belong in that chair, but I just felt so bad for him. I didn't bring it up to my client, to my producer. I was like one of a franchise rooms in a pharmaceutical, and I didn't tell the person above me. This guy wasn't any good. And then when it came showtime, we actually had the CEO of the pharmaceutical there, the CEO of the production company in my little room. And that guy he had messed up the microphone so bad that when the CEO went to speak, his handheld didn't work, his lob didn't work, there was feedback. And I got in a lot of trouble. And the guy was fired immediately. But I also got in trouble because I didn't put anything. So if you see something, you have to say something. And there's politically correct ways to do it. You can go check on ask ChatGPT how you can frame it. But just be proactive. I will never let that happen to me again because it was stupid. I just don't want to hurt the guy's feelings. But then he really messed up a really important show. Every show was really important. It just was ironic that the CEO of both companies were in my little room. Stupid me. Lesson learned. Don't learn.
Yeah. It's also a personality thing. So between Nancy and I'm more outspoken we complement each other well that way because I'm more outspoken and she is where I'll just say it. And she's not one who does that. So unfortunately, someone like me, my personality might say it too harshly or too abruptly and come across in a way that's not, you got to find that happy medium. I think that's the hardest part is finding the happy medium. What else you guys have?
I think empathy is important. It was in some meetings having a similar topic of conversation, and it's that thing of to a certain point, right? Not to be too forgiving, like Nancy said, but you don't know what somebody is going through, and if they are being maybe out of character and not, if they seem like they're in a bad mood, it's to approach it from a place of how can I help you? How can I, what can I do rather than, oh, like you're being a jerk today. And like, why are you being like that? Like something of an understanding, which might then, they might just be in their head about something and be like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, sorry, hey, I'm gonna, yeah, I'll turn it around. Or it might be like, actually, I'm going through this really stressful thing. could you do this for me? Or could you help me out by like this thing? And I've had a couple of these, I've had a conversation with a friend about this because I was working with a PM who I felt like he really didn't like me. And it wasn't that. And like my friend was like, just call him before the next time you get on site together. Just call him and be like, hey, I felt like the last couple times we worked together, we kind of rubbed each other, I rubbed you the wrong way. And is there something I can do differently to make life easier for you or to make things run more smoothly? Like what can I do that is more in alignment with how you run a room? And we had a really productive conversation about it. So I think it's remembering that as well, that people aren't always, sometimes people are just mean, but sometimes, most of the time, they're not being mean just to
Yeah.
be mean. It comes from a place of needing some help or needing something different.
Yep. I feel that. Anyone else?
I would agree on that. I would go back to if they don't have the skill to do the work, that needs to be nipped in the bud right away, right? Like, especially, I feel like I'm going to use E2 as an example. I've been having a lot of people that are like, I'm trained to do this work, and it's a lot. It's like, it can be very stressful if they're not fast enough, if they're not getting it, whatever. You have to talk to the technical director and producer about it ASAP.
That's that EOS model. Is it's the right person, but maybe the wrong seat. There might be just in the wrong seat. And that's always the issue because they're a nice person, but it might not be the right role for them. I had that on a show this summer where we had an A1 and it was not. She couldn't handle the pressure of it. She couldn't handle, we had to spray things down with disinfectant, all the head, it was like one of the silent disco rooms, like the headsets. We had to clean them between, and she couldn't handle the smell of the cleanies, so we couldn't clean her around. Like nothing about her in that setting worked. She was a wonderful lady, but it was not the right show setting environment, nothing. She's probably a great A1 elsewhere. But on that show, she got moved to a different room after that because I had to have enough balls to say, this is not working. We can't make this room work because she can't have disinfectant being sprayed and she couldn't handle the pressure of it. And it's just making that call is so hard. But
yeah. Well, I think people are also, especially when we're in the thick of like Q1 right now, we don't have deep benches always for all these positions.
Right.
So you might be getting somebody that, they're used to doing a small show and this is a huge show. So yeah, that's how you get screwed too. But definitely bringing that up right away is important.
Speaking out.
And then another thing about when we have situations that aren't going our way, like if you have a problem, if you can, before you escalate it, have a solution.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's just a great, when contractors come at me and maybe they're already booked on a show and now they can't do it, I hope they have a solution with somebody who else can, don't just come saying, yeah, I can't do it. Because I do give grace. I will totally give grace. If I have you on a 2-day show and you just got booked on a 10-day show, I got to feed my family too. You got to feed your family. I'm okay with that for them if you don't do it all the time. But don't come with me with the problem, but come at me with, I can't do it, but you know what? Why don't you give John a call? John Sharp's really great at this. He'd be a great replacement for me. I've already talked to John. He's ready to step in. Those people shine in my eyes. Like they have a problem, but they have a solution. And I try to always talk to our clients like that too. When Tempo has an issue, I always try to give a solution. That's
I feel like too, people that do that get rebooked. Like if you're bringing calm, if you're bringing solutions, if you're not bringing drama, if you're actually a leader, not like have a leader personality. Everybody in this space has to have somewhat of a leader personality, regardless of where you are. If you're graphic ops, if you're deck managing, if you're like whatever you are, you have to have somewhat of a leadership personality. And sometimes it's easier for others to kind of pull from that, but that's something that gets you rebooked for sure. All right.
I got one more quick communication thing too.
And
we ask all of our clients for feedback on you every show, and we get it most of the time, and I share it with you most of the time. And it's never to hurt; it's only to help, because I want you to know what somebody said so you can be better at it, or I also want to hear your side of the story as well. And I just had to send a couple emails like that out today. And I adore these contractors. I love working with them. They just didn't gel, or something was off with that client. And so if you can get feedback from all of your clients, I think it's so useful. Just use it as constructive criticism. It's not to put them down. And I made sure my email said that this is not about you it's about the situation and what happened. Tell me your side of the story, but now you'll be better the next time. And that's like the guy that was playing solitaire. He probably won't play solitaire, I don't think, on his phone. I hope not, right? And he changed me because I was like, I don't play solitaire, but I will scroll when I shouldn't be. So just know that
Feedback
construction
is a gift.
That's what Barb said to them. Yeah, when they sent us
Feedback
this
is a
email.
gift.
Feedback is such a gift, you guys. So
It hurts sometimes.
yeah, and we want it for our company, and we want it for you, and I want you to also give us feedback on your clients. So if you have a client that's not treating you well and isn't giving you breaks, isn't feeding you, whatever it is,
Let us know.
we put that in there. No, they are rated just like you guys are rated. So it's like Uber, it's a two-way street. We rate, they rate.
Hey, if you guys aren't checking the notes over there, Lonnie's dropping in some great tidbits of information over there if you want to scroll those comments. All right. This is the last topic of conversation. This is going to be a zinger. Mistake recovery. How do you recover from mistakes? What do you do when you miss a cue? What's the fastest way to lose trust even after a mistake? Like there's things you can do to repair it, but what can you do? It's like, whoops, I wish I would have done that.
First thing I do is apologize.
Own it.
I apologize to whomever, anybody it affects. I make sure that that if it's my fault, I'm taking the blame. I don't want some other crew member who might be more obvious because their work is showing on screen or whatever. That, if it's my mistake, it's my mistake.
So funny you say that, Kate, because I told Nancy, being on headset on these shows, this industry gives more grace. And it's the most giving and copacetic community where you all on headset, if you make a mistake, like they apologize. This is like, I wouldn't even notice it was missed, but they apologize. The person like, it's no big deal. Like it's the most giving and receiving of grace community I've ever worked in. And that's saying a lot. And I think I've never seen it happen otherwise. I'm sure it has. But I've only been lucky to be on shows where like nothing on the headsets. It's always like, just, I'm so sorry. No big deal. Like it's always giving grace.
And so often you get your tushy saved by somebody. And I'm always fast to acknowledge that. I mean,
Nice.
they know what they're supposed to do, and I blew it, and I'm effusive with my thanks as well.
Yep.
And keep going. You can't let a mistake affect if you're show calling, you can't let it affect the rest of your call. You have to fix it and then apologize. Like get through the moment and then be like, hey guys, I'm really sorry, and like thank you for inevitably it's the graphics op who saved you. But keeping, even if you have to, on the theater side of things, the dance side of things, I've had to do show stops and starting again. You just have to do it when you don't feel ready, that you just have to do it because we can't afford for you to feel like you can take it, you can take your deep breath, but you can't take 5 deep breaths. And, keep going and deal with, there's nuance to it, right? Like there's nuance to everything. Obviously, don't keep going if somebody is in danger, but if it's, a salvageable moment, you just get it back on track and then deal with the apologies and the thank yous and all of that.
I'd say the one thing that I didn't know how valuable it would be when I did it, it's a couple of years ago. If you're in a city local to a university with a very good drama department, or if you have an improv group, even more. In LA, we have Groundlings, and then,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Second City or whatever, they have beginner classes. I think we did a full day for 39 or 40 bucks. I took the beginner one. You don't sit there and take notes. When that class starts at 10 a.m., everybody's on the stage. And you learn from that class. Either it took me a few days after to realize what was going on. If you can't do something, you recover right away into your next step. If you fall flat on something, you go right into your next one. Improv is great for that because not everything works, and you have to look around you for what you're going to come back on track with. But if you can take an improv class, by all means do it. I know people go, "Oh, I'm not in theater. I'm not." It is so valuable
Oh,
across the
okay.
board.
That's a brilliant idea. I was on a show, the last one that Nancy I was on. I was doing this DJ box booth thing. It was crazy. And when the rapper came up, I needed to push a button to make the screen say his name. And I don't think I ever did it once. I did it maybe once or twice. I kept forgetting because there was so much going on, and people are in my head, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I look up and it was up there, and the graphic ops person behind backstage, she realized, okay, this chick is not going to be able to do that, so I'm going to do it for her. And I was so grateful. Nancy kept saying, good job. I'm like, yeah, good job. Like I told her, I didn't do it. I did it like twice, but they did it the rest of the time because they realized there was so much going on. I couldn't touch the button. It was so hard to remember because there was so much going on. So I love that. Like when you see someone is too busy or can't think about doing that one thing, when you pick up the slack for them, that goes a long ways because it really did help the entire show. Anything else?
Well, I have a question, I guess, since all of these like show callers, if they wanted to chime in. So I just, I accidentally got roped into calling my first show recently. I was asked to be a room producer. It turns out I was like producing the entire live event. And a lot of that was okay because I come from an audio background. So I was working with vendor and that part was okay. But now I'm actually calling the show. And which again, I had built the run of shows. So I was so in it that it became second nature. But inevitably client wanted to make a change to the deck because we were running long and they wanted to eliminate entire portions. And so we had in-house AV team. We had zero rehearsal time. I don't know how they pulled any of it off. But while they were hiding some of the slides, I guess what happened was they accidentally hid one of the presenter's slides that like wasn't supposed to be hidden. So they're up there and they start clicking and they're just saying there's something, I don't know, they're clicking forwards and backwards. I thought they just got lost. And eventually, they move on and the graphics op says, oh, I'm sorry, I think I must have accidentally hidden one of their slides. I can go back. If you give me 5 seconds, I can get it back up. But in my mind, I'm like, we've already moved on. You're going to have to throw a still store up there. It's really going to throw off the presenter. So we just moved on and forgot about it. And I guess I'm just wondering if anyone would have handled that any differently in that moment or how they would approach it.
I find it helpful. I always have a copy of the deck on my I travel a computer and an iPad, which is a very privileged place to be. But if you have space on your screen to always be following along with the deck, because then instead of hiding slides, you can tell them we're going to jump to this slide number and it says this. And that way,
that would have been awesome had I even had the deck.
Sure,
That
yeah.
ever been given to me. And also, this particular operator, whenever I would ask, like we were in rehearsal, can we just jump to the end of the deck? Didn't know how to do that and was like clicking through every single slide. So, but that does sound like that would have been amazing. Just not hide slides at all and just tell an operator to go to a certain slide. I will definitely
Yeah, because they should be able to look at it. Ideally, they have a backup, right? You have your primary graphics and your backup graphics. So they should be able to look on their backup machine.
Right.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
I know that's what I said. I go, that's your backup machine. I could see the slide. You can just go to that, right? And they're like, no, it was for something else. It was just as everyone in there, yes, I know you should have a backup machine. It was a very small meeting with 80 people, like using the in-house AV. It was enough, like hard to even get a computer back there to get anything done. So I do realize that all of those things made it much easier.
Sounds like you did it right.
Yeah, I love what you did. I think it was a great idea. And I'm sorry you were in that situation.
Okay, I'm a show caller now, everyone. I'm now a show caller.
It sounds like maybe you didn't even have a deck manager, but if you have a deck manager too, you can.
Well, I was that.
Yeah, I've had a thing. If somebody feels like they're having a problem with the clicker, the deck manager always has a backup clicker, and I have sent a deck manager up to like trade out for a working clicker. But they can also then kind of whisper in their ear, we're going to go back to your this slide as they're handing it over. But it doesn't sound like you were on that scale of staffing on your show.
I was the staff. Yeah.
I love that. Very good. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. It wasn't a very big think tank, but it was so important. First of all, I learned so much every single time we have these think tanks. So I really appreciate all of you, and your feedback and your brilliance does not go unnoticed.